pushed me out too. So I was back there, I was like, don't make me do it. Because all of you people have said all of the buzzwords, so I think the bingo is already won. And so I'm hoping that we'll have a lot of questions from you guys. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about vertical video and Scripps Networks. None of you might even know Scripps Networks because we're better known as Food Network, HGTV, Travel Channel, DIY Network, Cooking Channel, Great American Country, and Food.com. So we have a whole host of brands, which is very exciting. And I have the best and worst job in the business because my job is to support those brands through digital video across platforms for our owned and operated and social, and to do it with less money and fewer people than ever before. That's actually not true. We're investing in vertical video as well as social video, as well as originals, and we continue to do well with our brands. So bear with me because I'm not into PowerPoints. But
motion pictures have always been horizontal. Televisions are horizontal. Computer screens are horizontal. People's eyes are horizontal. We aren't built to watch vertical videos.
I love vertical videos!
Nobody cares about you.
So leave it to me to have to rely on a puppet video from 2012 in order to draw laughs and also kind of illuminate the point, which is to say it's not horizontal or vertical, it's actually both. So we spend a lot of time at Scripps optimizing for what the audience is looking for, as well as what's going to support all of those talents that you know on air, the shows that they're in, and also extending the stories through our digital video and our digital operations, like our packages and our recipes and our photo galleries, all of those inspirational pieces of content that bring the experience of the consumer from on air and new audiences to life. So for us in the past couple of years, the discussion has been, if these screens in this room are horizontal and you go home to your big screen TV, and that's where you know Jada and Alton and Chip and Joe, how are we gonna make sure that a vertical experience makes sense? And really what we're doing is we're learning as we go. We have the good fortune of having brands to kind of bolster and help us with experimentation. So we look at those and then we try and complement those. And really we're doing that through the mobile experience and through social. So why is it important to have vertical video? Well, everybody's on their phones. If you guys all took out your phone right now and I said, look at your email, look at your Twitter, none of you are gonna hold your phone this way, okay? So we've covered this in the past 2 days. Vertical is actually an important consideration because that's what the user is doing. And in particular, users much younger than I am are holding their phone like this. So we want to make sure that we have an experience that's satisfying to them. So the user comes first, the audience comes first. We also want to make sure that we're accommodating advertising and making some money along the way. Then we get more money to do more fun things. I keep waiting to do the cool stuff. And so we're keeping an eye on where advertisers are looking for new opportunities to reach their consumers. And so mobile is the place to do it. Producing vertical video is very different from having vertical video for brands like ours. We have thousands and thousands of hours of archive and library footage from shows. How to Make Macaroni and Cheese from 5 years ago still resonates with the audience. And in fact, with our audience, you can put macaroni and cheese out on social and on our owned and operated sites in 100-degree weather, and they still love it. So there's evergreen content that we can capitalize on, but we also want to make sure that as things progress with social, that we're relevant and timely. So fast forward.
You might want to take your seats and strap in, because things will probably get bumpy.
This is a fruit of many names. Some call it butterfruit. You most likely know it as avocado.
Fire burns things.
You wanted honesty. There you go.
So you know we didn't blow up any watermelons yet, but we're hoping to in the next couple of months. About a year ago, thereabouts, we partnered with Snapchat as one of their Discover channels, and it was a formative moment for the video team at Scripps. That is because we have TV timelines and we have magazine timelines, and we're a multimedia company that actually has a history in news, but for food and home and travel, we haven't produced a lot of news. And what Snapchat wanted and what their audience wanted was a whole lot of video instantly, or almost instantly, and in a vertical format for a younger audience. So we went in with kind of a multi-pronged approach. We said, all right, well, what do we have that we can use from the archive? What's going to resonate with a younger audience and work on a phone? How can we recrop content so that it actually makes sense? And then, as we go into production, whether it's piggybacking off of a TV show and working with our linear partners and their production companies to say, while you're there, what can we capture? What can we do more of? And how can we do that inexpensively? You don't necessarily have to have as slick a production for something like Snapchat as you do for on-air. So what are we going to be able to do when we're shooting? And then from an original content standpoint, how are we going in with open eyes and saying this audience is going to be different, they're on the go, their use case is different, they're not necessarily leaning back, or they're leaning back and they're holding the phone at the same time. How are we going to make sure that we're creating vertical first video? And then the other thing that we're doing is a little bit of both. So if we're going on set either for a linear show or in one of our own productions, we'll either, sorry, wait, go back. Basically, when we're on set, there's a couple of different things we do. We can either piggyback the actual timing so that we run through and we shoot for horizontal, and then we say we need a vertical take, because if you're in a home and if you're looking at a makeover, how you shoot is very different than if you're up close and personal on a pineapple that you're cutting. So for the pineapple, you might be able to get it in one take, but if you're in a room or if for Travel Channel we need to get a vista, you really want to get a couple of takes, both horizontal and vertical. And then the other thing that we're looking at is, where is this going to make sense the most? In some cases, there's this show we did with Justin Warner, who is a winner of Food Network Star. It's called Foodie Call, and he interviews restaurateurs and chefs and celebrities, and he talks about either a food that's about to get hot or could be trendy, or a trendy food that he's going to help make mainstream. That show and Justin as talent made sense in the vertical format for Snapchat first, but it's not Snapchat only. We would debut the series on Snapchat and then bring it to the other platforms. Because we are a big company and we have all of these distribution channels, it's really important for us to make sure that content can live in more than one place. And it's not just cutting and pasting, it's making sure that each of the platforms has something that's tailored to it, which we've talked about, again, for the past couple days. So when you guys go out and you consider, we're going to do vertical video, think about who the audience is. Think about whether it's meant to be evergreen or timely. In some balance, at Scripps, we have to do both those things. We have to make sure that we're getting new audience members by saying, I don't even know what Scripps is. I don't even really know Food Network because I don't have cable, but that was a really cool video they did and I want to learn more. To the other presenters who are talking about emotion, the best thing I can do is figure out how to tell a story. Doing that on Snapchat is actually very different from our owned and operated sites. It's different than the experience on TV, and it's different on Facebook. We have the luxury, I think, of being able to look at what's performing in the different places and then test and adapt. So our content offerings are including vertical, but they're not limited to vertical. I think the really commonsensical answer is you have to make sure you're considering where you're going to be in a few months. Because we're sitting here talking about this, and then, wait a minute, in the past 3 weeks, all anybody wants to talk about, 360 video, VR, what are we doing about the wearables? What's going to be on the watch? I can't think of the watch quite yet. So I would just say, know that because things are changing so quickly, having kind of a broad view of your slate, of your talent, and what their strengths are, Like some of the talent are so great on their phone. They're doing Facebook Live, and they're making their fans feel like they're right next to them. We need to be able to capitalize on that, and then we need to build on that family. We need to bring in influencers and contributors and experts and make them feel like they're part of the family, because that expands the brands. And so I think as we look at the next year, vertical is a piece of the pie. Oh wait, key takeaways. I hate PowerPoint. And actually, there was a lot of debate about this slide, so forgive all the words. But really, producing vertical is an important component, but it's not the whole thing. Mobile isn't going away, so make sure that you have a mobile experience with content that's satisfying. Make sure, for us anyway, we want to make sure that we have videos that are at various lengths. So we do 10 seconds, we do 30 seconds, we do 2 minutes, and in some cases, we're doing episodes that are 7 minutes at a time. I think looking at the variety of options in terms of how you're producing and how you piece them together offers you a means of reaching consumers that are tried and true fans as well as new ones. And again, you know, it's commonsensical, but just look at where the audience is, look at the stories that you know will resonate. For us, somebody has to eat every day. They have, at 4 o'clock, I don't know, it's still something like 70% of the world doesn't know what they're gonna make for dinner. So and I feel like I said that 10 years ago. It's not different, you still have to make dinner. Breakfast is a very big thing, so in case you guys want a little like hint, make smoothies. Smoothies resonate. And then, in the home category, I mean, really, those spiffy makeovers, the little things that you can do to make your home feel like it's been renovated without actually knocking down walls, I don't know, it's kind of commonsensical. And then with travel, how do you get your consumers to feel like they've been to a place if they're planning to go there and they want to get the best recommendations, or also if they don't have a shot at getting there and it's snowy and gross out, but they feel like they've escaped to Bali. I think for us, looking at what's going to delight and inspire and make the consumer feel like their life is just a little bit better is kind of our gateway into the next generation of content. So I'd be happy to take questions. And I'm sorry to be so vague, but all of you people who went before me answered all the questions. Hi.
Hi, John again from the Rubicon Project. The vertical video is beautiful, and I think you guys are definitely going in the right direction with it. The one question I have is on the buy side, the agency and demand side. I see a lot of content producers starting to produce this content.
Yes.
But on the flip side, do you see the agencies and creative agencies starting to produce the right types of ads for this space to really utilize it at scale yet?
It's a good question. I think that the agencies are moving quickly for agencies. I also think that the agencies are looking at demographics and considering what's best for their clients. I think that the creative has come along, but just like when you look at Facebook video and you see the same types of videos over and over, at some point there's a little bit of fatigue there, and then the creatives have to adapt. And I think likewise on the ad sales side, the creative has to be adaptive as well. It's moving faster than I think when I was in print. I mean, that was a long time ago, but it's not enough of a volume of demand right now for our brands for us to drop everything else. How's that?
Good. Well, we have some
I hope
questions.
that's all right. You have questions.
We have some
all
questions that we also gathered for you. People wanted to make sure they heard you talk about. So first one is on this idea of all lifestyle content.
Yes.
Kind of looks the same. So how does a brand as well known as Scripps compete with so many other publishers making essentially the same content? That's a good tough one for you.
It's not that hard, I don't think, a question, because there's such a diverse range of talent and interest even within our own brands. So if you look at HGTV and Food Network, right around Thanksgiving, everybody wants tabletop ideas. And our consumers might go to HGTV and they might go to Food Network. And so even though they're slightly different spins, there's an audience in both places. I would extrapolate from that and say the same is true for the broader audience. Basically, people want a style, okay? They want a point of view. So some people want to cook like in a garden. Some people want to have shortcuts. And I think on the home side in particular, you have such a variety of tastes. Somebody who likes a mid-century modern home isn't the same as somebody who wants a farmhouse. And so for our brands, having linear networks as well as talent and shows associated with those that are constantly evolving gives us, I think, actually a point of view that we piggyback on. And I think that it's important for us to not only reflect what's there, but complement it and make sure that together we're driving each other forward. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we saw some of the stuff you're doing on Snapchat, and this was a question. As a whole, is this marking a change of seeing digital as just an extension of TV? Like, are you actually creating content that just is meant to be on these platforms, like just being on Snapchat?
I think Snapchat is the most public-facing thing that we've done in a few years that actually is kind of independent of our TV presence. But I don't think it's unique. We've always invested in original programming. I think the point of view is exciting and new and fresh. And so I think it's getting a little bit of attention that maybe we haven't for some of the SEO-driven how-to videos that people come to us for. But I think we've always had a digital business in addition to our linear business. And one hopes that even as content merges and medias merge, we'll have the opportunity to have both.
And with clear monetization strategies on both.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And
Yeah, we have to make money.
And last question, which you have to help everyone understand what this question is.
Okay.
This is definitely somebody who understands TV very well. Would be interesting to know what percentage do scripts try to maintain on TV versus on digital of original versus library at any given time? Did you guys get that? I'm not saying who sent it
All
to
right,
me.
I'm going to try and interpret that question first. I think the question is, and whoever asked it, you should jump in if I'm wrong, but I think the question is when we have such big brands for linear with faces and shows that need to be promoted and need to be complemented, what's the balance of that and the support that we're giving to that versus the percentage of time and energy and money we're spending on originals? And I would say that for the time being, it's both. I mean, percentage-wise, my team spends 70% of their time on originals and content that is a complement to linear, but the overall company is very much benefiting from having great brands on air. So we're still in a really good spot. And then digitally, it's a balancing act. So every day we need to make sure that across the platforms, we're surfacing the different kinds of content we have. And some of that's behind the scenes with talent, and some of that is show extensions like Star Salvation, where you kind of carry the story from on air into digital. But that's one percentage, and then the new faces, the new formats, vertical, the different kinds of storytelling that work for digital first, we're layering in. Does that answer whoever's question that was?
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Deb, thank you so much.
Thank you
it was
so much
great
for
having you
having
on
me.
stage. Thank you. Thank you, Deb.